There is a deeply uncomfortable truth about human nature that polite society refuses to acknowledge. When you experience a sudden, devastating fall, the people around you do not grieve with you. They recalculate. Think back to the moment it happened. You sent that long, carefully worded message explaining your side of the story after your reputation was dragged through the mud. You watched the read receipt appear, and then nothing. Absolute silence. The next week, you saw the people you thought were your closest allies casually having drinks and laughing with the exact person who engineered your exit. You thought you were experiencing a profound personal tragedy, but to them, your collapse was just a shift in the weather. And the brutal reality is, the more you frantically tried to explain your pain, the more pathetic you looked in their eyes. When you are stripped of your status, whether through a brutal corporate restructuring, a public and humiliating breakup, or a calculated character assassination within your social circle, your immediate instinct is to fight the narrative. You feel a burning, desperate need to set the record straight. You want to gather everyone together, lay out the chronological evidence, and prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you were wronged, that you were entirely misunderstood, and that the story being told about you is a malicious lie. You reach out to mutual friends to grab coffee. You send the long, emotionally charged emails. You post the thinly veiled, philosophically defensive updates online, thinking that if you can just articulate your pain clearly enough, the world will pause, realize its mistake, and hand you back your dignity. This is the ultimate trap of the bleeding ego. It is a fundamental, catastrophic misunderstanding of how power and human incentives actually operate in the real world. You are operating under the naive assumption that the people watching your downfall care about justice. They do not. In the cold mathematics of social dynamics, justice is an illusion sold to the powerless to keep them compliant. The people watching your collapse are not an impartial jury waiting to be convinced by your evidence. They are spectators at a coliseum. When you bleed in public, when you expose your open wounds and try to logically explain how unfairly you were treated, you are not eliciting their sympathy. You are providing them with free entertainment. You are proving to them that the attack worked. Every frantic text message, every defensive conversation, every attempt to clear your name is just another drop of blood in the water. You think you are defending your honor, but what you are actually doing is broadcasting your exact emotional location to the people who want to see you break. Think about the sheer amount of mental energy you have wasted recently. Think about the hours spent staring at the ceiling at 3 in the morning, having imaginary arguments with people who are sound asleep. You are exhausting yourself trying to win a debate that no one else is participating in. Understand what is happening beneath the surface. When you take a hit, the social hierarchy around you instantly fractures and realigns. People are deeply, primarily self-interested. When they see you falling, their first instinct is not to catch you. It is to step back so they do not get pulled down into the impact crater. By associating with a loser, they risk their own carefully curated status. When you desperately chase them down, demanding that they validate your side of the story, you become a massive liability. You force them to choose between their own comfortable social standing and your sinking ship, and they will choose themselves every single time. By continuing to make noise, you only confirm their suspicion that distancing themselves from you was the right and necessary move. You look out of control. You look like a terrible investment. This is why the loudest person in the room is always the one with the least amount of leverage. When you have actual power, you do not need to explain yourself. Your reality is simply the reality, and others are forced to adapt to it. It is only when you have been stripped of your power that you feel the obsessive gnawing need to convince others of your worth. But here is the mechanical truth. Your words have absolutely no currency when you are operating from a deficit. You are trying to buy back your reputation using a currency that the market no longer accepts. Your enemies know this. In fact, the smartest manipulators will intentionally bait you into these emotional defenses. They will spread a rumor or make a quiet, cutting remark in a meeting, specifically to watch you overreact. They want you to look crazy. They want you to look obsessed, because the harder you fight the invisible ghost of their accusations, the more you legitimize them in the eyes of the crowd. If you want to survive this, if you ever want to rise from the ashes of this humiliation and reclaim your position, you must immediately sever the information supply. You have to understand a foundational law of Machiavellian strategy. They cannot destroy what they cannot monitor. Every time you open your mouth to complain, every time you let your face show devastation, every time you react to a provocation, you are handing them the architectural blueprint to your psychological state. You are telling them exactly what hurts, what you fear, and how to easily trigger you again tomorrow. You are doing your enemy's reconnaissance work for them, completely free of charge. To stop the bleeding, you must first stop providing the data. You must violently kill the urge to be understood. It is a childish desire, born from a time when crying brought a parent rushing into the room to fix your problems. You are an adult operating in a world of predators, opportunists, and indifferent bystanders. Crying does not bring salvation. It brings scavengers. The moment you accept that no one is coming to save your reputation, a profound, chilling shift happens in your mind. You stop looking outward for validation, and you begin to look inward for strategy. You stop viewing your silence as a forced surrender and start viewing it as a reinforced fortress. You are no longer a victim waiting for the court's verdict. You are a strategist who has just realized that the game is rigged and that playing by the old rules is a death sentence. Your loud, desperate defense is exactly what keeps you trapped in the cycle of their judgment, spinning your wheels in the mud while they watch in quiet amusement. To rewrite the rules of this game, you must rip the microphone out of your own hands and step completely into the dark. Ripping the microphone out of your own hands and stepping into the dark is the first necessary act of reclaiming your power. But the moment you go quiet, the moment you successfully cut off the supply of your emotional reactions, you will face an entirely new and far more insidious threat. The false empathy of the reconnaissance mission. Notice exactly what happens the second you stop defending yourself and disappear from the radar. Your phone suddenly buzzes. A coworker from a rival department conveniently stops by your desk for small talk. Someone from the very social circle that just alienated you sends a seemingly gentle message. Hey, I noticed you've been quiet, just checking in to see how you are holding up. To the untrained eye, it looks like concern. It mimics the cadence of warmth. But do not be foolish enough to believe it for a single second. This is not empathy. This is espionage. They are not checking on your well-being. They are checking the structural integrity of your collapse. They are poking the ruins with a stick to see if anything is still moving beneath the rubble. They need to know if you are hopelessly depressed, if you are secretly harboring a grudge, or if you are about to do something erratic that they need to prepare for. Human beings, especially those who thrive on office politics and status games, absolutely despise a vacuum. When you were loudly complaining and visibly suffering, they knew exactly where you stood on the board. You were a known, predictable entity. But your sudden, disciplined silence creates a blackout. They are suddenly flying blind, and that blindness generates a quiet, creeping anxiety in the minds of those who wish to maintain an advantage over you. By sending out these little social probes, the casual texts, the tilted head, the lowered, hushed voice asking if you are really okay, they are trying to bait you into opening the door just a crack. They know that if they can manufacture just enough artificial sympathy, the lonely, wounded part of your ego will rush forward to be comforted. And the moment you vent to them, the moment you let slip a single comment of bitterness, fatigue, or despair, they will take that data and carry it straight back to the group. You become the currency they use to buy favor with others. To survive this stage, you must become the sealed door. You must internalize a core law of survival in any competitive environment. They cannot destroy what they cannot monitor. Becoming unreadable is an elite Machiavellian discipline, and it requires a brutal, conscious mastery over your physical and digital footprint. This means absolutely no vague, melancholic updates on social media, no heavy sighs in the break room, no lingering, dramatic pauses when someone mentions the incident. But you must also understand the critical difference between sulking and being truly unreadable. Sulking is just another form of noise. When you avoid eye contact, storm out of rooms, cross your arms, and give people the silent treatment, you are still communicating. You are screaming to the room that you are wounded and resentful, which means they still control your emotional thermostat. Being truly unreadable means adopting a state of polite, terrifying neutrality. When the spy asks how you are doing, you do not scowl. You look them directly in the eyes with a flat, relaxed expression and deliver a frictionless pleasantry. I'm doing very well, thanks for asking. How are your current projects coming along? You deflect, you neutralize, and you give them absolutely nothing of substance to consume. Mastering the sealed door means mastering your own nervous system. Your enemies will look for the micro-expressions. They will watch the tension in your jaw when a certain name is brought up. They will gauge the speed of your walk and the volume of your voice. You must train yourself to breathe evenly, to keep your shoulders dropped, and to speak with the calm, measured tempo of someone who is entirely unaffected by the turbulence around them. At first, biting your tongue and swallowing your pride will feel like chewing glass. The urge to justify yourself, to show them how much they hurt you, will claw at your throat. But if you hold the line, you will soon experience the cold, exhilarating rush of absolute control. You will sit in meetings or social gatherings and watch their eyes subtly search your face for a crack, a tear, a sign of lingering defeat, and you will see the exact, microscopic moment when they realize they cannot find one. Because you are giving them zero behavioral data, their smug certainty will begin to sour into confusion. That confusion will slowly mutate into paranoia. Why aren't they angry? Why aren't they falling apart like we expected? Do they know something we don't? Are they speaking to someone above us? Are they building leverage behind our backs? By refusing to react, you force your enemies to sit alone in the dark with their own worst assumptions. You force them to project their own fears into the void you have deliberately created. The human mind will always imagine a threat far worse than whatever is actually there, so let their imaginations run wild. Manipulators, narcissists, and social climbers feed on emotional reactions. It is the oxygen of their perceived power. When you become a sealed door, you ruthlessly cut off their air supply. They will try a few more times to provoke you. They will toss out a backhanded compliment or deliberately exclude you from an email chain, hoping to see you wince. But when you respond to their provocations with the exact same dead-eyed, unshakable politeness, they will eventually give up. They will retreat, starved of the drama they desperately needed to feel superior. You strip them of their leverage simply by refusing to sit at the table where the game is being played. You become a psychological black hole. Their influence enters your orbit and simply disappears, yielding no return. This is the stage where the power dynamic quietly, invisibly shifts back into your hands. Your silence is no longer a retreat. It is a tactical withdrawal that establishes a perimeter of pure steel around your mind. But while this mask of pleasant indifference protects you from further external attacks, it is purely defensive armor. You have successfully hidden your current state from the enemy, stabilized the perimeter, and stopped the bleeding. But hiding in the dark is only the beginning. Now that the noise has stopped, you must turn your attention inward and brutally dissect the exact flaws that allowed them to breach your walls in the first place. Hiding behind the sealed door protects you from the scavengers, but it does not heal the underlying wound. You have successfully hidden your current state from the enemy, stabilized the perimeter, and stopped the bleeding. But if you stop here, you are merely a fragile person hiding in a dark room. To truly rebuild a foundation of power, you must perform a brutal, unsentimental autopsy on the version of yourself that just died. Now that the noise of the crowd has faded and the immediate crisis has passed, you have to turn your attention inward and dissect the exact behavioral flaws that allowed your walls to be breached in the first place. You have to face the mirror, and you have to do it without an ounce of self-pity. You likely tell yourself a very comforting, familiar story about your downfall. When you lay awake replaying the events, you tell yourself that you were simply too loyal, too trusting, too authentic for a corrupt and cynical environment. You look at the coworker who stole your credit, the friend who spread the rumor, or the partner who discarded you, and you paint them as the villains in your personal tragedy. You frame your collapse as a noble defeat, a situation where your inherent goodness was taken advantage of by malicious actors. This is a seductive narrative because it completely absolves you of blame. It allows you to maintain the moral high ground while sitting in the ashes of your reputation. But moral superiority is a useless currency in the realm of power. It buys you nothing but pity, and pity is simply the polite cousin of contempt. Strip away the emotion, remove the dramatic filter of betrayal, and look at the raw mechanics of what actually happened. Rewind the tape to the months, or even years, leading up to the collapse. Look closely at the boundaries you routinely failed to enforce. Remember the time a colleague made a slightly disrespectful joke at your expense in a meeting, and instead of holding unbroken eye contact and letting the silence make them uncomfortable, you nervously laughed along to keep the peace. Remember the late nights you spent gossiping with the very people who eventually turned on you. You bonded over shared grievances, complaining about management or your personal frustrations, thinking you were building genuine alliances. In reality, you were just handing them high-grade ammunition. You traded your mystery for the cheap comfort of venting. You gave them free, unrestricted access to your insecurities, your pressure points, and your blind spots. This brings us to the coldest, sharpest truth you must swallow on your path back to power. Your collapse was not a random tragedy inflicted upon you by a cruel world. It was the inevitable mathematical result of the signals you broadcasted. You incentivized your own betrayal. In the unforgiving game of human dynamics, people treat you exactly the way you train them to treat you. By being too accessible, too eager to please, and too willing to tolerate minor disrespects just to avoid feeling lonely or disliked, you broadcasted a massive, glaring signal to the predators in the room. You signaled that there was absolutely no cost to crossing you. People do not besiege the heavily fortified citadel. They loot the village with no walls. You built a village with no walls, invited everyone inside, showed them where you kept the gold, and then cursed the wolves for acting like wolves. Your ego will violently resist this realization. It wants to reject accountability. It feels so much warmer to be a righteous victim than a flawed, careless strategist. But the strategist does not sit in the dark asking, "Why did they do this to me?" The strategist asks, "What incentive structure did I create that made betraying me the most profitable move?" That weak version of you was a liability. It overshared. It reacted emotionally to every slight. It valued external validation over internal leverage. It operated on the naive belief that if you were just nice enough, the world would protect you. You must not try to resurrect that person. You must bury them. You must look at the corpse of your old habits, your old neediness, and your old people-pleasing tendencies without a single drop of nostalgia. Thank that version of you for surviving the impact, but recognize that they are not equipped to lead you into the next chapter. The moment you accept absolute, terrifying responsibility for the architecture of your own downfall, the initial sting of shame instantly transforms into a cold, surging rush of power. Think about the profound strategic implication of this shift. If your defeat was truly just bad luck or the uncontrollable cruelty of the universe, then you are permanently helpless, forever at the mercy of circumstances and other people's whims. But if your defeat was the direct result of your own predictable, weak strategy, then you hold the master key. If you engineered the vulnerability, you can engineer the armor. You are no longer waiting for the world to become kinder. You are simply choosing to become harder to kill. From this day forward, your presence is no longer a free commodity. Access to your mind, your energy, and your empathy becomes a highly restricted premium asset. You realize that deep loyalty must be extracted through mutual respect and consequence, not bought with desperate subservience. You stop trading your dignity for the temporary illusion of inclusion. you begin to construct a new internal operating system, one built on the understanding that boundaries are not just emotional concepts. They are the physical borders of your empire, defended with lethal consistency. The autopsy is over. The weak, overly accommodating version of yourself has been diagnosed, dissected, and thoroughly buried, leaving behind a clean, hardened foundation. With the architecture of your past failures fully understood and the leaks permanently sealed, the stage is set for the real work to begin. You are no longer defending, and you are no longer analyzing. You are now ready to begin the quiet, lethal accumulation of real leverage while the rest of the world still thinks you are dead. With the weak, overly accommodating version of yourself thoroughly dissected and buried, the foundation is cleared to begin the quiet, lethal accumulation of real leverage. But to build this leverage effectively, you must utilize the greatest gift your enemies have ever unknowingly handed to you: their absolute certainty that you are finished. Picture the exact environment that recently wrote you off. Think of the office where they casually passed you over for the promotion and pushed you out of the inner circle. Think of the social group that quietly excised you from their group chats, or the ex-partner who discarded you and immediately began parading their new life. Right now, in this very moment, they are incredibly comfortable. They are laughing at the same mediocre jokes, playing the same petty, low-stakes political games, and resting comfortably on the laurels of having successfully removed you from the board. They look at your sudden absence. They look at the radio silence you have established, and they assume it is the silence of the grave. They genuinely believe you are sitting at home, crippled by depression, mourning the loss of their approval, and paralyzed by the weight of your own failure. Let them believe it. Do not interrupt their arrogance for a single second, because their arrogance is about to become your operational camouflage. Human beings are notoriously flawed risk assessors, driven almost entirely by ego and recency bias. Once a collective group decides that someone has been permanently defeated, they completely remove that person from their mental threat matrix. They stop checking your digital footprint. They stop asking mutual connections what you are up to, and most importantly, they stop preparing defenses against any potential counter moves. They grow incredibly lazy. They get sloppy with their own work and their own relationships because they no longer feel the competitive pressure of your presence. Their pride blinds them to the fundamental law of nature that a wounded animal, given enough time to heal in the dark, often returns as an apex predator. This is precisely where you weaponize their underestimation. You must realize that being ignored is not an insult. It is an elite, highly coveted tactical advantage. You must burn this rule into your mind. They cannot destroy what they cannot monitor. When the spotlight moves away from you, it takes the crosshairs with it. You are now operating entirely in the shadows, unburdened by their surveillance, their expectations, and their sabotage. The ego, however, will constantly tempt you to blow your own cover. It craves immediate vindication after a few weeks of hitting the gym, reading a few books, or making a little bit of money. The amateur urge to prove them wrong will spike. You will want to post a cryptic motivational quote online. You will want to show up to a mutual friend's party looking successful, just to rub it in their faces and watch their jaws drop. You must suppress this cheap, theatrical urge with extreme prejudice. Returning too early is the single most common mistake made by the fallen. If you poke your head out of the dirt to demand respect before your root system is fully established, they will simply step on you again, and this time they will make sure you do not get back up. Real power is not a movie montage. It is a long, tedious, unglamorous grind. You must cultivate predatory patience. A predator does not announce its presence in the tall grass by shaking the branches. It waits in absolute stillness until the distance is closed and the strike is mathematically guaranteed. So, what exactly do you do with this darkness? You do not use it to rest. You use it to quietly, obsessively build a war chest of undeniable value. While they are out at happy hour, gossiping about the past, drinking away their weekends, and complaining about their bosses, you are systematically acquiring the hard leverage that dictates the future. You are securing new, high-level certifications that make your resume bulletproof. You are quietly networking with their direct competitors, building alliances in rooms they do not even have the security clearance to enter. You are mastering the financial, technical, or psychological systems that they are too lazy to understand. You are physically hardening your body in the gym, at hours when everyone else is asleep, forging a physical presence that commands immediate, unspoken respect. You are systematically upgrading your internal software without ever publishing the release notes. Every book you consume, every new contact you quietly secure, every dollar you aggressively save, and every hour of focused deep work is another massive block of iron in a fortress they do not even know exists. You are no longer reacting to their moves. You are playing an entirely different game on a board they cannot even see. Because they cannot destroy what they cannot monitor, your growth compounds without any external friction. The very people who threw you to the wolves are now busy fighting each other over crumbs, completely unaware that the wolf they should be worried about is quietly getting bigger, faster, and smarter just outside the tree line. You must learn to savor the cold, electric secrecy of your own evolution. When you are walking down the street, passing people who still think you are the same broken failure they laughed at 6 months ago, you should feel a secret, lethal smile forming in your mind. You know something they do not. You know that the pathetic, bleeding version of you they are picturing is dead, and the person who has taken their place is someone they are entirely, disastrously unprepared to face. You do not need them to believe in your comeback because you are no longer relying on their belief as a power source. You rely on evidence. You rely on the undeniable, objective metrics of reality that you are stockpiling day after day in the dark. Your invisibility has become your impenetrable armor, and their smug underestimation has become your ultimate weapon. But this period of unseen preparation cannot last forever, and the camouflage has finally served its purpose. The pieces are now firmly in place for a re-entry that will violently and permanently shift the gravity of the room. The period of unseen preparation cannot last forever, and the camouflage has finally served its purpose. The pieces are now firmly in place for a re-entry that will violently and permanently shift the gravity of the room. When you finally step back into the light, you do not come back to argue, negotiate, or plead for your old position. You return with undeniable objective evidence. Picture the exact environment where you were once humiliated or written off. An industry networking event, a high-stakes meeting where you now represent a formidable competitor, or a social gathering where you suddenly appear after months of absolute silence. You do not walk in with a chip on your shoulder. You walk in with the relaxed, terrifying calm of someone who holds all the cards. Your posture is fundamentally altered. Your eye contact is unhurried and unshakable. The physical results of your isolation, the sharpened mind, the upgraded presence, the quiet financial or professional confidence, speak so loudly that your mouth does not even need to open. The room will immediately sense the shift in the atmosphere. The people who confidently discarded you will look at you, and in a fraction of a second, their entire psychological framework will collapse. They will realize that while they were busy resting on the laurels of your assumed defeat, you were quietly building an empire in the dark. But this is exactly where your final and most difficult test begins. The moment the room recognizes your newfound power, the rats will instinctively attempt to swim over to the new unsinkable ship. Watch closely as the very people who abandoned you suddenly materialize in front of you. They will approach with warm, familiar smiles. They will extend a hand, pat your shoulder, and speak in a cadence of manufactured intimacy. They will say things like, "It is so great to see you," or, "We have really missed your energy around here. We should grab a drink and catch up soon." They will act as if the betrayal never happened, as if their deafening silence during your darkest hour was just a minor scheduling conflict. They do this because manipulators, social climbers, and opportunists absolutely hate to feel like they left money on the table. Now that you are valuable again, they want to hastily re-establish the connection. They want to see if they still have access to the old, accommodating version of you. They are testing your new perimeter to see if the gate can still be pushed open with a simple smile. Your ego will scream at you to take the bait. The wounded, vindictive part of your mind will desperately want to use this moment to punish them. You will feel a burning urge to look them in the eye, recount every single way they failed you, demand a groveling apology, and verbally crush them in front of an audience to prove your superiority. You must ruthlessly suppress this amateur urge. Anger, even entirely righteous anger, is a massive strategic error in this moment. If you blow up at them, if you show bitterness, or if you launch into a dramatic speech, you are signaling that they still hold immense emotional weight in your life. You are proving that the ghost of their betrayal still haunts you, which means they still have the power to alter your nervous system. A king does not step off his throne to argue with a peasant who once threw a rock at him. You must respond not with rage, but with polite, terrifying indifference. Remember the velvet line of this strategy. They cannot destroy what they cannot monitor. You used this principle to hide your pain when you were falling, and now you will use it to hide your power now that you have risen. When the betrayer approaches you with a warm smile, you do not frown. You do not glare. You offer a flat, relaxed smile that does not reach your eyes. You give them a brief, utterly frictionless handshake. You look at them with the calm detachment of someone speaking to a stranger in an elevator. And you say, "It is good to see you. I appreciate the offer, but my schedule is entirely booked these days. Excuse me, I have someone I need to speak with." And then you physically turn your body away and walk out of their orbit. You do not wait for their reaction. You do not look back over your shoulder to see if they are stung. You simply evaporate from their reality leaving them standing there, holding an empty conversation. This kind of cold, polite dismissal is infinitely more devastating than any screaming match could ever be. It completely shatters their ego because it denies them the one psychological currency they crave most: significance. By refusing to be angry, you are communicating that they are not even important enough to hate. You reduce them to an outdated, irrelevant footnote in your history. You must understand that forgiveness and access are two entirely different concepts. You can forgive them in the privacy of your own heart to cleanse yourself of the toxic baggage of resentment. But forgiveness does not require a reunion. Your empathy is no longer a public utility. Your inner circle is now a heavily guarded fortress, and they permanently lost their security clearance the day they decided you were expendable. Let them live with the quiet, burning shame of knowing they vastly underestimated you, and let them watch from the cheap seats as you continue to rise without them. This execution of boundaries is how you establish the untouchable baseline. Your return is not a temporary theatrical performance meant to shock your enemies. It is the new, permanent architecture of your life. You do not revert back to the lazy mornings, the loose lips, or the desperate need to be liked the moment the applause starts again. You understand with absolute clarity that the same crowd cheering for your comeback today is the exact same crowd that will gladly watch you fall again tomorrow if you give them the chance. Therefore, you stop building your life around the audience altogether. Your discipline is no longer a survival tool you use to navigate a crisis. It has become your permanent identity. You continue to build in the dark. You continue to tightly control your narrative, and you continue to view every social interaction through the lens of leverage, mutual respect, and unyielding boundaries. You remain unreadable, unflappable, and relentlessly focused on the long game. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, you will not look at your phone to see who has finally noticed your progress. You will not waste a single second of your mental bandwidth wondering what the people from your past think about your present trajectory. You will look in the mirror and recognize the cold, sharp truth. The accommodating, bleeding person who fell is dead, and the strategist who replaced them will never be hunted again. You will step out into the world not to seek validation, but to execute your will, armed with the undeniable leverage of a life built in absolute silence. You have finally learned the unspoken rules of the game. Now you dictate how it is played.